Hello there, welcome back to my channel. If you can't tell, I'm extra excited today because it is time for our first classroom transformation of the school year. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're in for a treat. Stay tuned. Classroom transformations are one of my favorite things. I've been doing them ever since I taught second grade, and I'm gonna take you behind the scenes and share all of the details. We're gonna chat about what a classroom transformation is. I'm gonna give you a tour of the space. I'm gonna show you not only the lessons that I am using and the activities, but I'm giving them to you for free. So if you also teach fourth grade and you wanna recreate this in your own classroom, I got you. So stay tuned until the end. I've also got a fun outfit to show you, and let's jump into it. First, let's chat about what a classroom transformation is, because this may be completely new information for you. Essentially, a classroom transformation is, for lack of better terms, when you transform your classroom or space into a particular theme. Now, in the past, I've done several different classroom transformations. The very first one that I did is when I taught second grade. I actually did a kind of military themed classroom transformation, and I did it because I had several students who were really into the military.
So you're gonna join the Dwight Army of Champions.
And we were starting a very challenging concept in math, which was word problems using different operations. And because the same students who were kind of struggling in math were really into the military, I wanted to kind of meld those two together and make it a more engaging experience for my students. Now, before we go any further into this, yes, it's a little over the top. Sometimes it's a lot over the top. Sometimes the top is so far down, you've lost sight of it. But while these are not necessary by any stretch of the imagination, if you are a teacher who really enjoys that creative aspect of transforming your classroom space and planning lessons around that theme, this might be right up your alley. However, if you listen to this and you're like, yeah, that's way too much for me, there is absolutely no reason to feel bad about that. Different things work for different teachers, and just because another teacher does it does not mean that you need to do it. Also, it can get very costly. Now, I am extremely fortunate that my current school actually has a transformation room. So it is a room that is shared by all of the staff members in the school, and our PTA actually sets it up with the transformation theme 4 times per year. So the first one was just set up for the school year. It is an under the sea theme, and I'm gonna take you behind the scenes, show you what it looks like. But keep in mind, this is not something I had to create. It was created for me, and I have access to the space. That is something, as I mentioned, I am very grateful for. That is not something that I've had in the past. When I did that military themed classroom transformation, as well as I've done a football themed one, because again, I had students who were really into football that year. I've also done my math bakery when I taught fourth grade, because those were concepts that I knew my students would struggle with. The math bakery was all centered around multiplying whole numbers and fractions, and I really enjoyed getting to be creative and plan these out, but I did spend a lot of money on all the materials to make that happen. Now, you can do very simple transformations. I tell you what, a plastic tablecloth from the dollar store can do wonders to transform your space. Oh, that's another one. I also did, well, I've done a couple of surgery doctor themed ones. I did a text feature surgery, and then I also did like contraction surgery. And that one was simple because basically I just put white tablecloths over my student desks. I played like heartbeat sounds in the background using a YouTube video, and then I gave my students like gloves and masks to wear. So that's a very simple one to get started with, but they can get expensive. And then you also have to store all the materials after you buy them. So just keep that in mind, that while transformations like this can be a lot of fun, there are a lot of downsides and just things to consider as well. But as I mentioned, the first transformation room here at my school is set up, and it is an under the sea theme. Now, this transformation room in my school stays up for 3 months-ish, 2 months. I mean, take the year and divide it by 4, basically. And we have a Google Calendar sign up, like a appointment schedule that we can go on and book out the space for certain allotments of time. And it's actually the expectation that all of the teachers take their class to the transformation room at least once during that time period so that the students can experience it. But if there's openings in the schedule, you can take them more than once. So this coming week, I'm actually filming this on a Sunday. I have not been to school on the weekend in quite some time, since the beginning of the school year, but I came in today just to kind of make some copies, get things ready. But we're going to the transformation room on Wednesday this week, and it works out really well that we are visiting the day after taking an assessment. So it'll be a nice, kind of fun experience for my students. Let's go see the space, right? I mean, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I feel like once you see it, you'll understand much better. So this is what it looks like as you walk up. We've got the seaweed, and then wait for it. Here is the inside, y'all. How absolutely incredible is this? I mean, honestly, my jaw dropped and hit the floor when I first saw this, and I still don't think I've been able to pick it up since. Obviously, it's a lot to take in, but when you first walk in, there are these tan foam mats to represent the sand. It's mostly paper covering the walls. There's some paintings and inflatables. We've got some burlap, and then this is paper. These are made out of kind of foam like pool noodles, and you'll see pool noodles are used a lot to represent some of the coral. These are like coffee filters, and then you've got little like cupcake liners, and then these bubbles are ornaments. Obviously that was like paper mache. And then you've got like cardboard and paper and tissue paper. You've got kind of like ping pong balls to represent the pearls. You've got, these are plates and more paper. I mean, I can't, y'all. It is so incredible. And then we've got kind of like the plastic tablecloths covering the lights. We've got more inflatables over here. And then again, those are plastic tablecloths that have been cut. We've got more coral. We've got, you know, like the netting material. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go ahead and walk through. So I'm just gonna go through kind of in order. So when you come around, again, we've got more coral. And honestly, I don't even know what's inside of there holding all that up. Don't ask me, I don't wanna find out. And then we've got clear inflatable beach balls to represent some more bubbles, and then these kind of shimmery pieces. And we've got jellyfish up there, painted kind of cardboard. This looks like it's made out of cardboard, the big boat. I mean, y'all, I can't get over it. And I'm so excited to take my students here. Okay, shark tour. I mean, how absolutely incredible. We've got more inflatable fish. We've got some inflatable sharks. And then here is a table where students can work. As you'll see, there's a lot of just kind of empty space so students can kind of spread out. I plan to have my students bring clipboards with them. But we've got tablecloths kind of covering the table, these shark pieces, and then back here, we've got like the mermaid layer cove. I don't know what you would call it, but so incredible. So just kind of showing you. Oh, there's also these lights. I'm not gonna turn them on right now, but these are remote control lights, and you can set them to different like colors to just liven up the space. And then we've got an inflatable chair over here. And obviously before bringing my students, expectations will be set in terms of touching materials, using materials, etc. But we've got kind of some treasures laid out. Okay. And then here we've got another kind of workstation. So once again, this boat, it looks like it's all made out of cardboard and has been painted. We've got some tables, and then these go with the screen over there. So I'll be able to display slides. Oh my gosh, look, I mean, the details. They even put, so it looks like they're swimming above you. It's so cool. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out. Okay, coming over here, we've got more coral. I can't wrap my brain around how incredible it is. Okay, so we've got some more paper mache, like the puffer fish. Okay, we've got more coral, absolutely beautiful. We've got more lights. So as you can see, like there's a light here that can get turned on. Oh, it's so cool, it's so cool. Okay, all right. I mean, if I'm this excited, imagine my students coming here. It's such a phenomenal experience for them. Okay, so then we've got these boats, which they can sit in. Again, you have to set expectations, but these are obviously just big plastic tubs. And then we've got kind of like some PVC pipe coming out of it, and then they've been painted or covered with paper. And so there's 4 of those. All right, and then we're basically back up at the beginning. This is more of the coral reef area. Oh yeah, one more detail I forgot to show you. Look at this anglerfish, and there's even a light in there so it will light up. So cool. So here's one last kind of overview of the room. Again, the whole school has access to this, so yes, it's a ton of work to set this up for the PTA, but we all end up getting to benefit from it, which I think is a fantastic idea, rather than teachers trying to create something like this in their own space, obviously not to this level, but it makes so much more sense if you do have an extra classroom, if you could dedicate it to something like this and then allow all of the staff members to be able to share it and all of the students to be able to experience. I feel like it's just such a cool thing. I'm so excited, if you can't tell. As you can see, I was not exaggerating or overselling the space. Truly, the transformation room is just incredible. There are no words to describe it. But while it's exciting and the space can elevate the experience, it truly comes down to the content and how are you tying it into content. So let's chat about that. Let me forewarn you, my creative juices lately have not been flowing as well as they have at other times. So this is not my most impressive lesson by any means, but it's what I could come up with while trying to balance all the other things that I'm doing, like getting ready for conferences and an upcoming observation and all of that. But as I mentioned at the beginning, everything I'm gonna show you, I will have linked for you in the description box. You can access it, make a copy of it, use it for free. So what is mine is yours. Hopefully that is helpful for you. When I take my students to the transformation room, we will be in there for an hour during our math block. And I wanted to have kind of a variety of activities, and I made it division themed because, as I mentioned, this will be the day after we take an assessment, and we will be starting the next part of the unit, which is all about division. But because I've not taught any of the division lessons yet, I wanted it to be a pretty basic division review. So these are the slides that I created. These are in Canva. I have an editable template link for you in the description box. They're nothing fancy, but if it at least gets you started, you can go in, edit them, use them however you want. I kept the slides very simplistic. I didn't make a lot of slides because that's not the focus of the lesson. It's more so what they will be completing. So the first activity is the Scuba School certification exam. So it says, welcome to Scuba School. Congratulations, you've been selected to join the Division Deep Dive team. Before you can begin, you must pass the Scuba School certification exam. It is never safe to dive alone, so work with your partner to visit each task card around the room and enter your answer in the Google form. You must get all answers correct to pass, but you can complete the task cards in any order. So then I have just some basic directions. They're gonna go to our Math Google Classroom where I will post the link to a Google form. They're gonna click on that, work with a partner, and then submit it to see if they pass. So this is what the Google form looks like, and I made this kind of animated header in Canva, which this Google form I have in a Google Drive folder. So when you go to that folder, you can just right click, choose make a copy, and then you can go in and edit this however you want. This description is the same thing I had on the slide, and then these are set up to only accept the correct answers. So if I type in anything other than the correct answer, it's not gonna let them submit the form. So these are the task cards that I created. Again, I kept it very basic division. These are gonna be hung up around the room, and as I mentioned, they can do them in any order. So that way there are 10 cards, and students can kind of spread out, and I'm gonna tell them no more than 2 partners at a single card at once. But for example, Scuba Steve, shout out to the movie Big Daddy, goes diving for the same amount of time every day for a week. If Scuba Steve spent 56 minutes diving for the week, how many minutes did he dive each day? So obviously a week has 7 days, so 56 divided by 7 is 8, but just to show you, if they type in, for example, 6, it will say, sorry, that's incorrect. But once they've typed in the correct answer of 8, then it will accept that in the Google form. Now, these task cards I created right in Canva, and I am linking the editable template for you. So if you want to go in and edit any of them, you can. And then I also have this recording sheet at the end. So each partnership is going to get a recording sheet just as a spot for them to kind of show their work and be able to record their answers. It's just an extra level of accountability. And as I mentioned, I will have them bring clipboard. So that is in there. If you want to edit it, you can. Then the next activity is the Deep Sea Expedition budget. So it says, welcome to the Division Deep Dive team. You have been put in charge of planning the first deep sea expedition. You will need to complete the table to calculate the total cost of the dive. So this is what I threw together. It's kind of a combination of some multiplication, some division, and some addition, because depending on what column they need to fill in the chart, they're either going to need to multiply or they will need to divide. And then at the end, they have to find the total cost. So they will need to use addition. And then I've got a spot at the end for them just to show their work. Again, I kept it very simplistic because I will have not taught any of the division lessons yet. But once again, I have this as an editable Canva template linked for you in the description box. So if you want to go in, edit any of the numbers, you can. But if you want to just print it and use it, I have that as a PDF in the Google Drive folder, which will be linked for you down below. You can just download it and then you are ready to go. The last activity will be a Blook It. So Blook It is an interactive game. It's kind of like Kahoot. My students love Blook It, and I really love that you can take a set of questions and then there are different game modes. So for example, when I click host, and you don't have to host the games live. You can also assign them as like homework, and then students can complete them at their own pace. But we're gonna utilize this fishing frenzy one, and that way it kind of fits the theme. But I kept the questions, again, very simple. So I will link this for you. You can either play it exactly the way that I have it, or you can make a copy of it. So when you go to the link, you'll have the option to copy it, and then you can go in and edit any of the questions. But I have 32 different questions. It's kind of a combination of different division review. I've got strip diagrams or tape diagrams, whatever you want to call them. So that will be linked for you as well. And that will kind of be at the end, however much time we have left is how long we can play the Blook It for, because you can set it for different time amounts. But that is what we are doing. I am obviously sharing this with my team teachers, so we will all share the task cards, and then I shared the recording sheets with them, as well as the link to the Blook It, and then I'm sharing it with all of y'all. So if this is helpful for you and you want to do these activities with your students, even without the transformation room, if you just want to do a fun, like under the sea type of day, here you go. Hopefully that's helpful for you. And then the last piece of the puzzle, obviously the least important, is what am I wearing? Because I love to dress up. I love a good theme. And so when I do activities like this, I want to lean into it, and I want to, zhuzh up my outfit a little bit just to break up the monotony of teaching. Sometimes when you get into a certain rhythm or pattern or routine, I don't want to say it gets boring, but it can get a little stale. And so having things not only for your students to look forward to, but also for you to look forward to as a teacher, I do think is important. And for me, that means dressing up when I can.
Your costume is fantastic.
So in order to fit the theme, I was like, all right, I can dress up as like a scuba instructor. I'm not putting on a wetsuit because I have the rest of the day of teaching and I feel like I would struggle to get in and out of it. I don't have a wetsuit, all that to be said. I plan to just kind of wear black, which is a majority of my clothes anyway, so that's easy. And then I went on Amazon and I said, I've got to be able to get a diver's helmet. And of course, I found one. So this is a fabric diver's helmet meant to be part of a costume. I don't know, it was like $20, $25, something like that. And here, I'll put it on for you, okay? You can't judge me, because it is quite the look. Oh yeah. Now, am I gonna be probably really sweaty afterward? Yes. I will offer it to my team teachers if any of them want to wear it. Will they want to after my sweaty head has been in there? Probably not, but we'll share it if they want to. I'll give them the option. And then other than this, I also got a 2-liter bottle of soda at the store. I'm currently working through it. I've got, a couple more days in order to finish it up, but I'm gonna use that 2-liter bottle almost like my air tank, and I think I'm just gonna attach like some string to it or something so I can kind of loop it over my shoulder, but that's it. So I'm keeping it very, very simple in terms of like my outfit. But I will link, if you're interested, the fabric diver's helmet down below. And then I also put it on my Amazon list for all of my lesson and engagement materials. That way they're all in one place, so it will be there as well. So I think that's basically it. As I mentioned, it is currently Sunday. It is October 6th, and I'm teaching this on Wednesday. So in a future vlog, I will let you know how it went, but I'm very excited, and I just wanna reiterate once again how incredibly grateful I am, how thankful I am to the PTA for putting this together. I mean, I can't express how, how mind-blowing it is, how grateful I am, because I then get to use that to create memorable experiences for my students, and it makes my job much easier when I know that the lesson is going to be engaging, and I'm very lucky, and I know that, and I don't want it to ever come across like I'm not aware how fortunate I am, because I am very, very aware and very grateful. But at the same time, I haven't always had that. So I understand what it's like to be in a situation where you don't have access to materials like this, and maybe you don't have a PTA that's involved, or you might not even have a PTA at all, and you're trying to do these things on your own, and it can feel overwhelming and exhausting, and you don't have the time and you don't have the money, and then you feel like a bad teacher because you see other people doing it, and you feel like you have to live up to that. And that's a lot to deal with, and I have been there. So I understand, I empathize, but keep in mind you are a great teacher regardless of whether you transform your classroom or go above and beyond in making lessons engaging. Honestly, the best thing you can do for your students is to love them, to care about them, to show up and be present for them when you're in the classroom, and to let them know that you're there for them, both as a student, as a person, and to give them those connections that they need, and ultimately to help them grow academically. That is your best asset as a teacher. All the extra stuff is just that, it's extra, it's not necessary, it's supplementary, and yes, it can be fun, and there's a time and a place for it, but by no means does that determine your worth as a teacher. So that's kind of the message I want to leave it on. But all that to be said, I'm very much looking forward to this week of teaching, and I'm gonna vlog tomorrow actually, because we've got some science investigations happening. So you'll find out more about that in the next vlog. And then after that, I'll share about how the transformation room lesson went. But in the meantime, you can go down the description box, access all of those materials for free, make copies of them, edit them. Hopefully that's helpful for you. And if you enjoyed this video, if you're excited, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And as always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive swim trunks on. And I will catch you in the next one.